Hi, Facebook family. I'm going to do another live video. So I'll give a few seconds to let some people join. But in the meantime, I'm doing this one today based on the blog post that I made this week and the meme that I shared yesterday about rushing. And if you didn't know that I have a blog, I've been trying to write every week to kind of practice writing and get those creative juices flowing, but also kind of sharing some of the insights that I've discovered over the last couple of years that are life-changing. So I figured doing a Facebook Live video around the blog, since, you know, blogs, there's tons of things that are out there to read and we don't always click on them, we don't always read them, but the videos are a little bit more fun and dynamic because it's me explaining it as opposed to just the things that I typed on the page. So yeah, so I'm going to try to do these more often and get more comfortable doing these videos because, you know, making videos isn't always so comfortable. But for the people that have joined so far, thank you. And I'll post this later so you can watch it later or share it. Definitely share it if it's something that you are inspired by. But let's talk a bit about rushing. Anyone who knows me or has known me for years knows that I pretty much was always rushing. Not like when I was doing my work, like I was present, and if I were working with a client or whatever, I was there and I wouldn't rush through that. But I was an optimist, so I would jam-pack my day in, and I would tell myself, oh no, I can completely make it, you know, from Bleecker and West 4th up to the Upper West Side in 15 minutes, of course. And then, no, actually, it's very, very hard to make it that far in 15 minutes, but that's kind of how I'd schedule all my days. And so I was pretty much constantly rushing, always on the cusp of being late to wherever I was going next. And I'm sure that you can relate that rushing sucks. Like, it literally sucks the joy out of you because you're in that kind of tense state of, oh, I'm going to be late, I'm rushing, you're kind of forcing something that is not natural, right? Instead of kind of accepting that there's going to be a flow of traffic, or the subway may come or the subway may not come, you're trying to control things that are out of your control, and you get kind of tense and anxious, and it sucks. And it literally is unhealthy. So at some point I realized that I was doing this, and I realized that I wanted to figure out how to stop. The first thing that I figured out was that I was literally afraid of being late. I was raised that it was very inconsiderate to be late. If you're late, you're not good enough or rude. And so I had this kind of subconscious wired thing going on that I really had this fear of being late. So once I realized that, then I could start to get to the root of that. And so over the course of about a year or two, I started doing this work to figure out, you know, what was going on with my fear of being late and how to let it go and kind of start to accept that sometimes I may be late, or, you know, it's not going to be the end of the world if I'm late, because like when you're going to pick up your kids from school, you know, they hate it when you're late, but it's okay. Like, worst case, the kids are waiting in the office for you when you get there. It's not the end of the world. So starting to kind of come to a level of acceptance and awareness around being late is absolutely key to all of this. But the main thing too is like, what is going on when we rush? Because rushing isn't just when we're afraid of being late. Like, I mean, a lot of people rush through their lives, like periods of their lives. Like, I can't wait until, you know, I get that next job, or I can't wait till I get on this vacation. So it's taking us out of the present moment. So when we're rushing, we're actually not in the present moment. We're thinking about what's coming next. And that's really important to realize, because whenever we're not in the present moment, we're missing, literally missing our life. And we're missing all the opportunities that we have moment to moment to moment to live. Like, to run into someone on the street that you haven't seen in forever. Or there's that video of, I forget who the violinist was that was playing in Grand Central, and everyone's rushing by and missing this like epically amazing performance because they're trying to get somewhere. Just one silly example, but that's what happens whenever we're rushing. We're literally missing out on our life. So this old kind of mentality that I had about like, well, yeah, of course I'm in a rush. I've got a lot to do. And I was so proud of how much I had on my plate and proud of, you know, all the things that I was accomplishing. And it seemed almost like a badge of honor to be rushing. And it's actually horrible to be rushing because you're literally missing your life. Just to kind of also kind of dive in, hustling and rushing to me are very, very different. I hustle. When you hustle, you're putting in your best effort. So while I don't rush anymore, I'm still often like almost late, like consistently all day. So you will frequently see me running down the street to get to where I'm trying to go. I'm not rushing, I'm hustling. And it's a really important distinction because like life is about hustle. Like there are times when you gotta like give 150% to achieve the greatness that you kind of envision. And like I always envision myself getting somewhere on time. So I'm hustling to get where I'm going. But that's different than rushing. Because when you hustle, you're in the present moment, you're focused and you're on it and you're like in the present moment. But rushing, you're focused on the future, if that makes sense. So that's really important. The other thing is that whenever we're rushing, whether we're rushing because we're afraid of being late or we're rushing because of some other fear, rushing is always a sign that we're doing something out of a place of fear. And this is so, so important because one of the big epiphanies that I've had over the last couple of years is that anything that we do out of fear invariably leads us kind of to a lower place in our life. And it doesn't even matter like if we choose choice A or choice B. If we choose something or do something, there's action out of fear, that is going to come back to us in some sort of negative way. So that's a much, much bigger conversation than just rushing, but just planting the seed that if you are rushing, whenever you're rushing, it's coming from a place of fear. So what to do about it? I already shared a little bit about how I figured out about my fear of being late and how I worked with that. So that might be something that you have a fear of, being late, and that may be why you rush. There may be other fears involved. So the first thing is to be aware or be mindful of when you're rushing. And once you have that awareness, take a breath, because breathing is this incredibly powerful tool that we always have with us and always have access to. So take a breath and then ask yourself, what are you afraid of? And as you start to ask yourself that question, what are you afraid of? Get close to what that answer is and really look at as much information around that fear, around that answer as you can, so you can start to skillfully navigate that fear. Because there will never be a time in our life when we don't have fear. So we really want to start to shift, to lean into our fear and skillfully navigate it. Now, for those of you who are like, yeah, Pam, like fear, like if the lion's chasing after you, want me to lean into the lion's mouth? No. If there's a physical threat, fight or flight, get the heck out of Dodge. But 99% of the threats that we have going on in our life, these fears that we're reacting to, aren't physical threats. They're fears around some sort of either subconscious or past or future, but nothing, or emotional, but nothing that's in the present moment. So super important when you're rushing, be aware of it, take a breath, and then lean in and ask what the fear is and figure out how to start to skillfully navigate that fear so you can stay in the present moment, so you can be clear-headed, make the best choices, decisions to make everything in your life as awesome as possible. So thank you so much. If you liked this content, please go over to my website, goldevolution.com. You can sign up to my emails and also sign up for information about my book launch, Find More Strength, 5 Pillars to Unlock Unlimited Power and Happiness, is coming next month in April. For anyone who wants to help me, I need to put together a book launch team, people that when the book goes live on Amazon, people that are willing to write a review, maybe spread the word, buy the book. And if you want to sign up for the book launch team, you will get an advanced copy of the book for free to read and give me feedback on, as well as my, obviously, deep gratitude and love. So feel free to DM me. Also DM me any questions you have, anything that this sparks in you. I'm always happy to chat about any of this stuff. So thank you so much for listening and have a great evening.